everybody. Welcome to Love 101 Media. This is our Love is Not a Game series. I'm Najieb, and I'm joined by these good people, Jasmine, Muhammad, and Yonnie in the background. Please, everyone, starting with ladies first, introduce yourself however you like to. So, Jasmine, we've seen you here before.
I'm sorry?
I said we've seen you here before. We thank you for being here. This is the one day you're here. It's lovely and it's different. Usually it's taking up half of the screen. So today I like what you're doing with it. And yeah, please continue to introduce yourself. I always introduce you by your hair, but you know, you can do better.
Please continue with the jokes you got. I'm Jazz Collins. I'm a freshman opera major at Purchase Conservatory.
And Dr. Muhammad.
Say that again. Major? You said
opera.
Okay. Dope. I invited my friend Nas. I'm not sure if she's going to get on.
Okay. Well,
anyways, my name's Muhammad. I'm Muhammad. I live in New York City, and I'm here to have a great conversation and enjoy the space with everyone.
And you are a first responder, a hero, and my brother who loves me more than anyone else in the world. So I just want everybody to know that. And who I love more than anybody else in the world, right? So that's just what has to be said. And Yonnie, are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. Please introduce yourself however you want.
Yeah, my name is Yonnie. I live in Rockland County, New York. Yeah, and I'm here on the call with y'all. Happy that everybody's safe. Happy that everybody's in good health. Good spirits, all that.
Important, man.
Thank you so much for joining, my brother. And my sister, Geneva. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you.
G, what's up?
What's poppin'?
Did the nap catch you, or did you get away from the nap for a little while?
I got away from it.
Okay, I can always tell when one is lurking over your shoulder. So
Yeah,
thank you for joining. Yes. Like Muhammad, you had the house on Haunted Hill thing. She has like the nap on Haunted Hill. It's always like, I'm coming to, knock you out. But yes, everybody, thank y'all for joining. Jasmine, Geneva, Muhammad, and Yonnie. I'm Najieb, and we will be continuing our Love is Not a Game series with chapter 15 on forgiveness. This is a very deep chapter. It's very well written, if I say so myself, and it's going to offer a new perspective, a different way of seeing forgiveness. Can everyone see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to call out the reading order. If you're not able or willing to read, that's fine. We'll go Jasmine, Geneva, Yonnie, Muhammad, and myself. And everybody will take a page, and we'll just stop at each page and people talk about whatever you think, whatever comes up for you. So Jasmine, whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Okay. Chapter 15, forgiveness. Forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with them and absolutely everything to do with you. Let's talk about forgiveness. It happens. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is a way of seeing. There are two entirely different ways of seeing that are called forgiveness. One of these ways is offered by the program, so you already know it's a lie. The other way is how love sees forgiveness, so you already know it's the truth. One way is entirely on guilt, the other way is based entirely on innocence. Programmatic forgiveness, mess. It's a mess. How does the program see forgiveness? To the program, forgiveness is always for someone else and about someone else. According to the program, to forgive means to pardon. When forgiveness is required, it means someone is guilty. What happened? They have wronged you in some way. You condemned them for the wrong, and you hold a grievance against them. You feel justified in your anger at them because they hurt you. You are the victim. They are the perpetrator. How would the program have you forgive someone?
Was that a snicker? There
Yeah.
was Can you explain that snicker? Because I prefer Reese's peanut butter cups myself. But if you can explain the snicker just now, then I appreciate that. Oh, you're occupied. All right, so we'll continue. Geneva, can you read?
Yeah, but I don't see it on the screen no more.
All right. Boom shakalaka. Here it is.
Taking the high road.
Oh, my bad. So
Oh, no.
I received a phone call and was on the phone real quick.
Oh, no worries. Go ahead. Go ahead. You had something to share?
Oh no, you asked me for me to explain the snicker, and now if you scroll back up a little bit, I was just laughing. It was like you are the victim and they are the perpetrator. It just reminds me of like a court. Somebody like it reminds you of the idea of going to court. There's always the victim and the perpetrator, or and so it's just I don't know, I found it funny.
Yeah. And you notice in court, there's always plea guilty or not guilty. There's never a plea for innocence. So if you're not guilty, why can't we just plead innocence, right? But actually, I misspoke. I do prefer peanut butter cups, but I prefer Trader Joe's peanut butter cups, the dark chocolate ones, better
Oh my gosh.
as well. So thank you for explaining the Snicker and Geneva.
And Reese's has a dark peanut butter cup too.
They don't hold up to Trader Joe's. I'm sorry. I just gotta, you gotta have to forgive me on that. All right.
All right. Taking the high road. When you forgive someone, you become their judge. You have already convicted them of the crime, and you have already judged them guilty. Guilt is always a request for punishment, so you believe they deserve to be punished. But since you believe you are operated from a place of moral superiority, the high road, you choose to overlook their wrong and pardon them. You may even go as far as to tell them, I forgive you. What does that mean? In your program polluted mind, you have just pardoned a guilty criminal. You believe you let them off the hook, which means you no longer require them to pay the penalty for their crime against you. But make no mistake about it, they are still guilty for it, which means they are in your debt because you forgave them. Let's go ahead and press pause on this game now. There are several insane premises to deconstruct. Deconstruct here.
Okay.
Let's take a look at them one by one. Program forgiveness means 1, that someone is guilty. A byproduct of listening to the program and not listening to love. You are not guilty, you are innocent. Or 1, 2, love always sees you as innocent. 2, that someone actually hurt you in some way. A, take full responsibility for your experience. B, if someone didn't physically assault your body or compromise your physical health in some way, they did nothing at all to you. And C, the only thing hurt on you is your feelings. 1, you are not a victim.
And can you just finish that little part there, and then we'll move to
1, you feel hurt by how you choose to see it. A, when you see it with the person.
with the program.
Program.
Any
I'm not
thought?
wearing my glasses, so
It's all right. I can make it bigger, actually. Y'all can still
forgive
see.
me.
I forgive you. Okay. So let's just continue since we're still in the middle of this. Yonnie, are you able to read?
All right, hold up.
Okay.
Right here, the next page says you feel hurt by how you choose.
You're at this part.
All right. That you can judge. You cannot judge. It is not possible. In your mind, you can decide to believe that someone is guilty, but you cannot judge. What would it mean to be a real judge? To be a real judge means you would have to be aware of everything regarding this person and situation, which means every piece of information existing in the past, present, and future about them. Be aware of what all of this information means and how each piece interacts with every other piece. Be in a position where you have authority over them to make a decision regarding them. Know how your decision will affect everything and everyone involved in every way. Be sure that you are seeing everything totally objectively with no bias, favoritism, or personal investment involved. You cannot do all of this, which you certainly cannot. All you are doing is making emotional conclusions based off of subjective analysis. If you perceive from the program, you will always be wrong, because the program is always wrong about everything. Again, the point here being that you should not judge, but you cannot judge as well.
Not that you
The
should.
only judgment comes from love. Not that you should not judge, but that you cannot judge. Copy. The only right judgment comes from love. Love's judgment can be assessed and exercised through you, but not by you. Love is the only authority and capable judge in any and every circumstance. That you can overlook something that did not happen. They never hurt you in the first place. Remember, you did it to yourself. So what are you overlooking? That you are on some higher plane than someone else. Everyone is the same. The program would tell you that forgiving is taking a high road.
Thank you, my brother. Pausing here, I just want to go back to this part where all of that stuff is said to be a real judge, what it would take. And it says, if you can't do this, which you certainly can't, no, none of us can, and all we're doing when we're judging someone is making an emotional conclusion, meaning how I feel, based off of subjective analysis, meaning based on what I see or what I think in my own head about it. And again, if it's from the program, it'll always be wrong. And if anyone knows, I don't know, my lighting situation is a little crazy, but if anyone knows what the what?
Nothing. You're in the back of a like a strip club. So I don't know. You're in the back of a club or with some strobe lights.
Oh, you already know, bro. You already know. Oh. You see that?
No, I'm joking.
I'm being ridiculous. I just need to turn a light on. I just refuse to. But yeah, like, see, now there's a light, but that's less fun because you're like, oh, where'd he go? So, the question is, what is the least reliable form of evidence in a court of law?
Emotions, feelings.
And they come out of people, of course, but people's past, which means it's your what? Your
Previous experience.
Exactly. So it's what we remember. Memory is the least accurate form of evidence, yet they use it in a court of law, and that's the same thing of the emotional conclusion based on subjective analysis. I'll tell you a quick study that was done. They did a study where they had a staged car crash where, show you just how impressionable your memory is and your perception. They staged a car crash where I think someone has joined. Hello, please introduce yourself however you like, when you're able to and willing to.
Hi, my name is Naz. Hi, Naeem.
Hello, Naz.
Oh, my video isn't on. I'll turn my video on so you can all see me.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go.
There you are. Hello, Naz.
Hi. What's up?
Yes. We're well. Thank you for bringing your smile to this space. Appreciate you. Please introduce yourself however you like. I know you said Naz, but you can say whatever else you like, or that's fine. It's up to you.
No, you can call me Naz.
Okay, so Naz. So we have on the line Jasmine and this guy here, I think you know, or not, Muhammad. And also in the background, we have Geneva and Yonnie. So they're on audio only. So they'll be also reading. What we're doing is we're reading, we're reading from this book called Love is Not a Game. We're on chapter 15. And everyone is reading a page and we're having a discussion. This chapter is about forgiveness, and we're seeing how love sees forgiveness and how the program, aka the ego, aka our false perception, sees forgiveness. And I was just explaining how memory is the least accurate form of evidence anywhere, especially a court of law, even though they still take eyewitness testimony, which is, I think that's like a dark ages type of thing that needs to be correct. It's like, if you have eyewitness testimony, let's just all go ahead and say that it's not applicable and we don't receive it, because it's not going to be, it's not, if you ask 10 people, you have 10 different answers. So the study I was saying was, there was a car crash that was staged. They filmed it from different hidden camera angles and everything. There was a crowd of about 20 people. They stage a car crash where it like crashed into some boxes or some pallets, something harmless. No one was around to, be injured. But then they interviewed everyone after, and they asked 2 questions. They said, how fast do you think that car was going when it hit those boxes? And then those people, they said, maybe 15, 20 miles an hour. Then the other 10 people, they asked, so how fast do you think that car was going when it smashed into those boxes? And you know what those people said? They said that the car must have been going at least 30 to 40 miles an hour. Just because of the one word that they used to pre-frame their memory. Everyone saw the same thing, but because someone primed them by saying, how fast do you think it was going when it hit the boxes? And how fast do you think it was going when it smashed into the boxes? Then they had a different response. And it was the same car crash, and the car was actually going like maybe 10, 15 miles an hour, nothing deep. But because they said smashed, then everyone made it as if the car was going like they were in Indianapolis 5,000. So that's just a example of how memory cannot be relied on. So, any other thoughts?
I mean, it's like, though, then there is on the flip side, though, there is that debate of just like having a clear statement. Did this happen? Yes or no? For example, if I have a cup and I pour water out of the cup, did you pour water out of the cup? Yes or no? And it's just, to that extent, it's like, it happened, yes or no. It's a fact, So I mean, I have just in my mind, I have like,
do you love me? Yes or no, bro?
I have a defense against what you said sometimes, because it's like, all right, is that a fact or no? And it's just like, all right, can somebody remember the fact of if something happening or no? But I don't want to go too much on a tangent. I'm trying to stay, related to what we're talking about in the book. But in regards to the book, I understand what you're saying. Is it's like, I guess, I'm trying to see the book. Where is it?
So this part, making emotional conclusions off of subjective analysis.
I mean, it's, everybody's going to feel different based off of a different situation. Nobody's going to have the same emotion off of the same situation. So it's like, it's always based off of someone's like previous experience. So therefore it kind of like it negates the fact that of someone's feeling being the ultimate litmus test, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you were saying before. It's like, can we rely on our memory to state an incident or something that happened? Perhaps, but the details of that thing, that's where it gets lost in translation. There's a little more. Yonnie, are you still there?
Yeah, what happened?
Can you just finish this reading up to this point, and then Muhammad will take the next part.
All right. This is the program's attempt only again to cause separation. Yeah. By perceiving from a place of moral superiority and inferiority. Once you have comparison, you have separation. I had to make it a little bigger. I'm sorry, y'all. Because you are making value judgments. Values are points, and where are points used? In games.
Boom shakalaka. Muhammad, will you continue?
I think that hits home for all of us. That whole portion is just talking about, like, us seeing, if somebody does something to us and we approach them, and then it's like, oh, well, I forgave you. I'm. It's like it's like you doing that person a favor, but like it's just kind of interesting how you wrote this in a way of like, I don't know. I feel like we all can relate to it.
Thank you, bro. I did not. I agree. I appreciate that. I'm gonna forgive you for not answering the question if you love me, yes or no. But I'm gonna just overlook that because I'm on a morally superior plane. But but yeah, whenever you're ready, please continue.
All right, bro. All right. Love's way of seeing forgiveness. You are innocent. How does love forgive? Actually, love does not forgive. What? Again, love does not forgive. Why? Because forgiveness can be needed in any situation.
Before forgiveness.
Sorry, before forgiveness can be needed in any situation, something else has to happen first. This is the piece the program doesn't tell you. What needs to happen before forgiveness? Condemnation. Condemnation is an outcome of judgment. Condemnation is the verdict of guilt upon someone, and guilt is a request for punishment. So why does love forgive? Why doesn't love forgive? Love principle. Love does not forgive because love never condemns.
Ooh, okay. So before we
see, this brings up a lot of internal conflict. Anyone agree?
I do, because I love you and I'm not afraid to say it, even though you won't say it. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? Love does not forgive because love does not condemn. Moving on, let's continue. It's ladies first. So Naz, if you would like to read, are you willing to read?
Sure. Yeah, I don't have the book in front of me, but
you do now.
I do now. Okay, where am I?
You are here.
Isn't that awesome? Oh, love does not forgive because love never condemns. Isn't that awesome? Let's take a closer look. If to forgive means to pardon, love recognizes that there is nothing to forgive in the first place. In order to forgive, you must first condemn, which means make guilty. Love does not forgive because love never makes you guilty. Love always sees you as innocent. There is nothing to pardon anyone for doing to you. It is your own perception of things that needs to be corrected. To pardon something makes it real. Only the guilty require pardon. And guilt is not real. Guilt is the byproduct of listening to the program. And the program is not real. It does not exist at all. The program and everything that comes from it is an illusion. It is your belief in the illusion which makes it seem real to you. The only problem you have is that you think there is a problem.
Can you say it again?
The only problem you have is that you think there is a problem.
She said it again.
The only thing that needs to be forgiven, or shall we say healed, is the way you are looking at it.
Okay.
Word.
Please pause there, Naz. So, any thoughts on that, anyone?
Scroll up a little bit.
All right, I got you in a second. So,
it is interesting. So it just kind of like went through the steps of just like saying, hey, before forgiveness always requires us to kind of like recognize a wrong, or recognize like, oh, you did something that was pretty much initiating or dispatching guilt on someone. But
Yes.
and I guess love is saying in the book that love doesn't recognize guilt, because guilt is not real.
Mm-hmm.
And guilt is a byproduct of listening to the program. All right.
Anybody ever felt guilty for like doing something and you find out later that you actually didn't do it at all, and you just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, something like, oh, you know, maybe you lost somebody's keys, or you know, you think you did something to cause someone to feel bad, but then you realize that that didn't happen at all, or you didn't do it, and now it's like, well, it's no more guilt, which means it was never there in the first place. You generated it by how you were seeing it yourself. So anyway, it's
All the
just
time. I think women especially do this all the time. We're always apologizing for things that don't really need to be apologized for, or, you know, we feel guilty a lot over things that we should not feel guilty.
I'm sorry, Nas. Why? I'm sorry. Why?
I don't know why we do that. We need to stop doing that. We need to own it. I don't know, honestly. I don't know why we do that. I don't know if it's, you know what it is? I think it's probably stems from being a woman and just like being sorry for things, because, oh, if we don't apologize, we may come across as too bossy, or you know, we don't want to be too something, but like we'll perceive it, if a man does it, it's just, oh, it's cool, or it's not. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
You are.
But
Can one of the women on the line comment on that?
I think there's two spectrums to it. I feel like sometimes people apologize too much, like out of like definite guilt, or because they were made, like, because that's how they were taught up, that was instilled in them, and it's just like a systematic thing. Like, and I know, like, I feel like I agree that women also apologize a lot, because I feel like the way society portrays relationships and everything, the man is usually more dominant, and you have to submit to him. So a lot of times people feel, or females, they feel like, oh, I have to submit to him. I have to apologize. I don't want to upset him or whatever. And that's obviously not correct. And there is another side where people are just they're, and I feel like it goes for males and females, they apologize a lot because they don't want to hurt people's feelings, because they overly think about how other people feel instead of themselves.
And in terms of professionalism, it's like damage control. Like, we just naturally don't want to upset any form of hierarchy. It doesn't matter who we're talking to. If a man happens to be our supervisor or even on our same level, it's just a matter of, I don't want to upset the water. I don't want to come across as too masculine, like Geneva was saying, too dominant in my field. I can't have direct opinions. I can't have this, that, and the third. Like, someone was just saying how women typically phrase their opinions, like their responses to things and solutions, as questions. Because if they're asking a question, that means somebody gets to agree, instead of saying, why did anyone ask you? Basically, like, why are you offering the solution? Why are you at this table with us, really? So they're like, oh, maybe we can do this? Huh. I never thought about that, you know, just a big guy takes it, never thought about it that way. Now let's like deconstruct and talk about it. And now all of a sudden it's a man's idea, but she got heard. So it's a damage control reflex, because they know, it's almost as if we know intuitively that we're not directly going to be listened to the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, all of you women talking right now. My program is feeling kind
Oh
of
my gosh.
threatened, and I don't know why you're trying to take over everything. I mean,
Boy, shut
okay.
up.
Oh,
I
I'm a
just think-
feminist. Y'all have your right, but you don't have to take over. Okay, I don't know what this is.
It's too late, Naeem. It's too late.
Right. I'm offended now.
I forgive you guys. All right.
Oh my gosh.
We're not, well, the women aren't going to say sorry this time.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right. Breakthroughs. Anyone who's not reading, please put yourself on mute, and especially if you're a woman. And then
Oh, God. It's going to become a thing now.
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I meant anyone on the call that's not reading, please put yourself on mute. And Naz, you have it. You have this section.
Love's use of forgiveness, healing. Just like everything else the program uses, love has a better use for it. Although love does not forgive, love can use forgiveness. What is love's use of forgiveness? To heal.
And I'll continue. So more specifically, to heal your perception. Love always starts from this position. You are innocent, everyone is innocent. You are innocent, Jazz. You are innocent, Geneva. You are innocent, Naz. You're innocent, Yonnie. You're innocent, Muhammad. You're innocent, Naeem. And everyone listening, everyone seeing this is innocent. Why? Because love created you and us innocent. Guilt will always imprison. Innocence will always set us free. Although you may believe another is guilty of something, you can only see their guilt through your guilt. You are the same. You can only see the program operating in someone else if it's operating in you. So you mean I can only see it operating in you if it's operating in me? Oh, that means that we're the same. Okay. You may think you are exonerating yourself of the guilt by projecting guilt onto someone else, but who feels it? You do. I do. Program principle. Guilt is a request for punishment. That's why when people feel guilty and they feel like they need to be punished to atone or to release the burden of guilt, the thing that happened already happened, but they're like, I need to be punished or else I'm gonna live with this heavy weight of guilt on my, my soul.
Yeah. Man, it's so bad. It's so bad because we all, if we ever feel like we wronged somebody, we always feel like I need to go and like go over to that person's house and go out my way in order to make sure this person is okay, or I have to make sure or do a certain amount of things just to make sure that person is okay. And it's like the idea and just the feeling of guilt in of itself is like can lead us all to, like, for example, it leads people to stay in relationships. Just the feeling of guilt. Oh man, this person, I don't know, did this, and I feel bad, so you know what, I'm going to feel like I'm keep myself in this situation. I don't know, it's just guilt in prison, bro.
And sometimes we'll call it make up. I have to make up with them, right? And that's the thing. And it's like, make up what? What did you break? You didn't break anything, and you got to make it up. Well, the only thing you should make up is your bed in the morning. Anyway, moving on. Thank you for that, bro. So guilt is a request for punishment. That's important to remember because just like in certain religious traditions where it's like, okay, you have to atone or repent or receive some kind of punishment, or even like some traditions have where you're like self-flagellating yourself just because you're guilty, and without the pain and the punishment, then it's not going to be forgiven. So, continuing. You do not want to be imprisoned by the guilt, grievances, and condemnation. This is what the program wants. Stop punishing yourself. Love principle. An innocent mind does not believe it deserves to suffer. I'm going to say that 2 more times. An innocent mind does not believe it deserves to suffer. When you have an innocent mind, you do not believe you deserve to suffer. Why? Because love wants you to heal and free yourself from the tyranny of guilt. You are not guilty. You are innocent.
One more part in the entire game to collect.
And we are back in around to Jasmine, and I'm gonna put Yonnie on mute. Okay, so Actually, any thoughts about that before we continue? That looks good, Nas. What is that?
It's Egyptian licorice, herbal tea.
I forgive you for not sharing. Okay.
Sorry, it's my tea time. So
Well, thank you for not interrupting your tea time for this. I want everyone on this line, on this call, to feel comfortable to do what you would normally do and to behave as you would normally behave. This is not a show or performance. It's just a group of people who want another way of looking at things, getting together, having a conversation. So thank you all for just being yourselves. Jasmine, whenever you're ready, you can begin.
How does love want you to heal? Love wants you to heal by realizing that there is nothing to forgive. Here's a question. Who is forgiveness for? Forgiveness is always for you. Why? If you are innocent and you and your partner are the same, that means they are also innocent. The truth, it is the way you are seeing them that is causing you pain, not them. It is the way you are seeing what they did or didn't do that is causing you pain, not them. It is the way you are seeing what they said or didn't say that is causing you pain, not them. In short, it is always your own thoughts that injure you, not another person. It is your way of seeing them that hurts you. Ready for the good part?
Yes, I am. Thank you for pausing for that.
Here's what you can do about it. You can change your mind.
All right. Thank you, Jazz. I want to just review this again. Anybody who wants to look at this again. The truth is, it is not the way you are seeing them that's causing you pain. It's the way you are seeing them that's causing you pain, not them. I'm going to say for me, it is the way I'm seeing them that's causing me pain, not them. It's the way I'm seeing what they did or didn't do that's causing me pain, not them. It's the way I'm seeing what they said or didn't say that's causing them not pain, causing me pain, not them. It's my own thoughts that injure me, not another person. And I can change my mind. And so just wanted to read that for myself.
I think we used the example as before, like if I guess well, it's not the best example, but if I think we use like a child, like, or let's say for example, I shoot the middle finger up at somebody, right? And someone could take that and see that as like a complete offensive gesture. Or, if a kid was to see that and they would be like, oh, he has the finger up, and they don't know exactly what it is. But it just kind of like shows in our mind we've created this perception of this gesture as like an offensive attack on ourselves, and we feel this like, and we essentially have this, we create the thought within ourselves as if we were being attacked.
Isn't it interesting that you have to actually tell, you have to, it's just a finger, right? And then you teach the child that this is what it means. And then they take that meaning when, it's just a finger at the end of the day. And in New York City, it means hello, because that's how you do when you're driving, especially, that. So many meanings for it. But at the end of the day, it's just a finger. It's like, just stick it out the window, just stick it out the window when you're driving. That's how we do in New York, and it's interesting because in New York, what would cause people to get shot, I've seen people get out the car and argue with each other in the face and all of that, and then just get back in their cars and drive away. And in other places, if you're not extra courteous, it's like, oh, well, you slowed to a stop, but you didn't give me the nod. Now we got a problem. In New York, it's like, you cut me off, but I was in the middle of cutting you off and you got me first, so it's all right. You know what I mean? It's so interesting that just the meaning we give things, it can change from culture to culture. And even in some places in the world, like shaking your head, like this means yes, and like this means no, you know. And so it always comes back to those first lessons, right, bro? Like the whole, it's the meaning you're giving it. Nothing means anything in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Geneva, are you prepared to read?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you change another person? No. Can you change their mind? No. Can you change their words? No. Can you change their actions? No. So what can you do? You can change your mind about them. You can change your mind about their words, and you can change your mind about their actions. Ready for the best part? They don't even have to participate. Why? Because excuse me. Excuse me. Because the way you are thinking about them has absolutely nothing to do with them. And guess what else?
You're forgiven for all of those hiccups. Go
Oh
ahead.
my gosh. They don't even have to be living for you to have peace about your relationship with them. That is why love's forgiveness is always about you. How does this work in your relationship with your partner? Adopting this way of seeing will bring enormous peace to you and your partner in your relationship. How? When you have the understanding that you and your partner are innocent at all times, you will not attack each other when the fear and programming comes up. You will you will take responsibility for the way you are seen. You will choose to join in healing and affirming each other's innocence. You will take your part you will take your partner off the program's imaginary hook. You will not try to make them feel guilty for something they didn't do.
Yonnie, if you're still here, could you continue?
From where at? From where?
The
Okay,
highlight.
clarity on all right, clarity on this point. When we say something they didn't do, we are not talking about the facts of what they actually did or said. We're talking about how you feel about it. They did not make you feel the way you feel. You did that on your own. Seeing with love, forgive and you will see things differently. The way love operates is simple. Love operates from a place of truth and total power. As we've covered before, the truth is you're responsible for how you see things, your thoughts, your feelings, and your perceptions. You may not be able to change the fact that you've been exposed to the program, but you can choose to stop running it, running the program in your brain, because your brain is a computer.
Thank you.
Or you can choose to let it continue to run you. You will choose to continue to see your world through the harsh and distorted lens of the program, or you choose to see it through the true and gentle lens of love. The truth is you are powerful, and you're capable. You're creating your experience every single moment, but how you choose to see that, by how you choose to see that moment, Are you seeing with love, or are you seeing with the program or fear? Forgiving, you will see things differently.
All right. That was the entire chapter. Thank you for reading. So, any thoughts, reflections, insights on that? On anything? Anyone?
I think I like how it says the whole thing about it's always your thoughts that injure you, not anybody else's, because I feel a lot of times we get offended by what people say and what people do, and it provokes us to act in certain types of ways. But I think it's important to us to remember that you only have control over yourself and your actions. You're only responsible for yourself and your actions. So like just to remember that when you're dealing with ignorant people, and there's a lot of those in New York. So I feel like you have little tests every day. Like you could run into somebody and you could choose to you know recognize that, listen, this person might not be in their right mind, so I'm not gonna take offense to whatever it is they're doing.
That sounds powerful, my sister. Because the
Especially
question.
with people.
Yeah.
What?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, especially with temporary people. Like I know it's different with family members and significant others and all that, and close friends because they're in your life every single day. But if it's a random person, they definitely should. You shouldn't give them the power to upset you.
And that's key what you said. Give them the power to upset you, because every time someone stuck their middle finger up at you, you felt offended. That means the power for you to feel offended belongs to who? To you or to them? And
Yeah.
well, we know it's not true that they have that power. So, like you said, choose to be offended or choose not to be. And family and close friends and, you know, romantic relationships, those are the best places to test your, you know, test your skills, as they say,
Your
because
self-control.
absolutely, because those are the people who are going to be your ultimate tests and triggers.
Those are the
So,
people that you want to smack the most.
exactly. And strangle and throw down the
And run
stairs and all of
over.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, not say too much.
That's how operas end.
Yes. We say that again, Jazz.
That's how most operas end.
Oh, yeah. See, the tragic comedies reflecting real life. I was, I would tell you guys that this is not funny, but we have to make light of it. That do you know what industry is booming now in the whole everybody shelter in place with each other situation?
The art,
Relation. What's that?
the arts.
The arts? Yes, but also something a little more relationship oriented, like dealing with couples. Any guess?
Sex toys.
That one too. And how about one that deals with couples separating, not staying together?
Divorce.
Ah, yes. Divorce is
Really?
booming. Yeah, it's booming right
Especially in China. There's a lot of divorce requests in China happening right now. They
All it
say
took was a week. All it took was a month of being at home together. and
24/7 though.
now.
I mean, it's a
Yeah, we have
lot.
to have some of that 24/7 Egyptian licorice tea to keep us
Wait, can
calm.
I just say, my little you know how they have like cute little
What is that,
quotes?
yogi?
It is.
I know
And you know
about the
what mine
yogi.
says? Mine says people who love are forgiving.
Wow, look at that,
It goes
Nas.
perfectly with our little segment for today.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And since you were the only one that was not here on the call with us, let
Sorry.
me not scroll through where y'all are seeing all of that scrolling. I just want to, because I think you only missed like 2 pages. So if it's okay with you, would you and Muhammad like to read the 2 beginning pages, just so you're in, you know where we started from, since you were here when we ended?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I can start.
Okay.
Forgiveness. Forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with them and absolutely everything to do with you. Let's talk about forgiveness. It happens. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is a way of seeing. There are 2 entirely different ways of seeing that are called forgiveness. One of these ways is offered by the program, so you already know it's a lie. The other way is how love sees forgiveness, so you already know it's the truth. One way is based entirely on guilt. The other way is based entirely on innocence. Pragmatic mess. It's a mess. How does the program see forgiveness? To the program, forgiveness is always for someone else and about someone else. According to the program, to forgive means to pardon. When forgiveness is required, it means someone is guilty. What happened? They have wronged you in some way. You condemn them for the wrong and you hold a grievance against them. You feel justified in your anger at them because they hurt you. You are the victim. They are the perpetrator. How would the program have you forgive someone?
Muhammad?
Taking the high road. When you forgive someone, you become their judge. You have already convicted them of the crime. And you have already judged them as being guilty. You hurt my feelings. Guilt is always a request for punishment. So you believe they deserve to be punished. So since you believe you're operating from the moral high road, you choose to overlook their wrong and pardon them. You may even go as far as to say, "Don't I forgive you."
I forgive you.
What does that mean? In your programmed, polluted mind, you have just pardoned a guilty criminal and you believe that you've let them off the hook, which means you no longer require them to pay the penalty for their crime against you. But make no mistake about it, they are still guilty for it, which means they're in debt with you. They're in your debt because you forgave them. Let's go ahead and press pause on this game right now. And there are several insane premises to deconstruct here. Let's take a look at them one by one.
Okay, so yeah, that's about where we were before you came in. So just wanted to get you the beginning part. And
Cool.
yeah, so how's everybody feeling? Anybody have any takeaways from this chapter?
I'm feeling a little tired.
The nap on Haunted Hill is coming for you. Okay.
Or it's your. No, I won't go there. I was gonna say, or it's your book, but I'm just kidding.
No.
It's not.
Oh, well, I know it does put people to sleep sometimes. So just because we're reading with such a lively energy, then, that's how I wanted it to be. I wanted people to join in reading this book and have fun with it. So, but yeah, you're right. It can put you to sleep if you're not into it.
I'm into it. I'm just tired.
Believe me, I understand, my sister.
Oh my gosh.
And get your rest, because that's the first line of defense for your immune system. Get your sleep. Drink some water.
Immune system. I've been inside for like 20 days. Immune system to defend me, to fight against what?
Well, your naps, since we know you're a traditional nap master, then we're not going to try to interfere.
I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm going to fight it.
Well, I forgive you if you do fall asleep.
Oh, here we go.
I just want to take away that it's always important to hear this for myself, because my ego or my program thoughts are always circulating around someone else as the central cause of my bad or upset feelings or guilty feelings or I did something wrong feelings. And again, if I didn't physically hurt them in some way or steal their money or commit fraud or whatever, then you literally have done nothing. So I have to literally tell myself the way they feel has nothing to do with you, Naeem. It actually doesn't. And if anybody's read the 4 agreements, I know that's a popular book, there's one of those agreements that says everybody's responsible for their own experience. Their feelings has nothing to do with you. And I think that's the most powerful thing we can take away, because there's a whole industry built around guilt. And one of them is, in relationships, one of them is called Valentine's Day. It's like, if you don't do something on Valentine's or make someone your Valentine, then it's an issue, right? But then the question comes back to who stands to gain. My money is going into your pocket to pay for a get out of guilt-free card with my special person, because somebody made up this day to say that if you don't do this, you're in the doghouse or you've done something wrong. And it doesn't mean that you can't do nice things on that day. It's just that, is it about being afraid of not being attacked by them? Or is it about, I just am doing this kind gesture and giving you these gifts, and it also happens to be on the Valentine's Day, just a thought on it. But I always need to hear this, because guilt it may not be real, but it definitely feels real, and we cannot take it lightly and act like it will not destroy you, because it destroys your health. It gives you stress, and Muhammad, in the medical field, stress is the biggest killer, and it'll be the underlying pre-existing issue that causes something else to come and take you out, just because the stress, got you in a weakened state. So that's all I have to say.
Definitely.
Thanks. Yeah.
No, stress is a killer, man.
We have a few more minutes, and the next chapter is called Forms of Relationships, and that chapter is actually 1 page long. So do y'all want to tackle that now?
Yeah,
1
sure.
page. Okay,
Why
so
not?
I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
I read it.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right. Forms of relationship: dating, open relationships, monogamy, polygamy, marriage, platonic, friends. This manual does not address this form of relationships. Why? Because they do not matter whatsoever. This manual is about content, not form. The content of love is equally applicable to all relationships because love is a universal truth principle.
I think
And,
Nas has she's done it. She's the one that put
yeah.
this spell on us. I think I'm getting tired too. I might have just dozed off for a second. You reread that, please.
Let me do that. The content of love is equally applicable to all relationships because love is universal. Love is a universal truth principle, and the truth is true for everyone all the time. There is no judgment on any form or any other of, or there's no judgment on any form over or over any other. Everyone has personal experiences. The only thing to be said about the form is that you should join in the form of a relationship in which you and your partner can allow true love to flow freely without fear. If you enter into a form of a relationship with fear and doubt, or develop persistent feelings of fear and doubt, that is not the right form for you and your partner at the time. Change it. Change the form of your relationship, but you do not change the goal and the purpose, which is to give and receive love. How do you choose the best form of the relationship? This is simple. You do not. Love does. Set the goal for love, which is content, and trust the guidance of love, and will show you form, and they'll show you the form.
All right, that's the whole chapter, and then next is romance. So, any thoughts about that? Forms of relationships. I guess I'll give a little background. It's like I wrote this manual to be used for all human relationships. It doesn't matter, even though initially I thought about it for romantic relationships, it can be used for that. And since it's based on universal principles, then like let's say love is freedom. That's a universal principle. That is going to support your friendship by freeing your friends, recognizing their freedom, your family members, freeing your family members, recognizing their freedom, your romantic interests, freeing them, recognizing their freedom, your colleagues, coworkers, everyone else from, the server at a restaurant, or I guess your Uber Eats driver at this point, and anyone else you may encounter. So it's usually more difficult when we're talking about the romance part, or rather a lot more triggers come up, but the principles are the same. So this manual is about the content of love, not about the form of relationships. And I say it right here on the back that this manual is for loving relationships. A loving relationship is a healthy relationship. This manual is for partners to use together. You do not have to be in an intimate or romantic relationship to be partners. So that word partner, I know, is often used to connect to a romantic situation, but when we use it here, we're all partners for the purpose of having an open conversation about love and healthy relationships and seeing it differently and supporting each other with our insights and experience that may help us in some way to better our relationships and our lives. And I appreciate you all. You have all helped me to remember the truth and see have more healthy relationships, because just by doing this shows that you're doing it because you want to, and that you're joining me in this. I'm not alone in feeling or thinking this way and wanting some clarity about love and healthy relationships. So for
Bro,
that,
you forced me to be here, bro. You was like, if you don't be here, you told me.
I'm what? What'd you say?
I said you forced me to be here, man.
Yeah, keep that between us, bro. You're supposed to I'm supposed to tell everybody. I'm trying to present a case to make it look like I'm this loving person. But yes, in closing, anyone have any other thoughts that they want to share? Any takeaways before we close out? Let's just go in order. So Jasmine.
It's great to think about how much power you're giving situations or people and actions. And it's great to reflect on how much power does this person have over me? Who really has control of me? And I don't think often we think about that because we are human and we are overrun by these chemical sensations called feelings. We are automatically forced into this fight or flight, like this person wronged me. How do I want to handle it? Is this going to be the termination of a relationship? Are we going to argue about it? Am I going to accuse, attack, what have you, to whomever I'm dealing with in that moment? So it's good to and oftentimes we don't have that much time in our minds to flip that switch and say, I'm just going to step back. How much power am I giving this situation? And I think that's very important.
Very well said. Thank you. Geneva, if the nap creature has
I'm
not
still
quite.
here. I agree. I feel like it's like just a survival instinct, defense, fight or flight. And a lot of times when we get into like arguments, disagreements, or just any conversation, we tend to like be defensive about stuff on both ends. And I feel like it's important to reassure your partner, whoever they are, whatever their relationship is to you, that like y'all on the same team. Like love is not a game, but y'all on the same team. And like you're here to love each other, not to encourage somebody else's demise, not to like attack, but to love. Like if you're telling them anything, it's anything like about their character, it's like constructive criticism. It's because you want them to better themselves, not because you're trying to degrade them in any way. And
Thank
I
you.
just
No, continue. Sorry.
that's it.
All right. I just wanted to point that out. You said everyone on the same team, partners. That's the first page of the book in Principles of Love. So wanted you to see that. Okay. Yonnie, any takeaways? He might be indisposed. Nas, any takeaways?
Yeah, I guess I agree with everyone. I think that, it's important to be in a partnership, like have a good support system. I don't even like calling it like marriage. If you're married to someone, that's, I've seen a lot of failed marriages, and I liked your little bit on trying to change someone.
It didn't put you to
That's
sleep?
No. Shut up. I stayed awake for that part.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that people fail in partnerships because they're just constantly trying to change. I always like, my little thing on marriage is I feel like people marry people to control them. And you're trying to change them to be what you want them to be. It's all in your mind. It's not that fairy tale. So I think that's the killer. You not being able to accept their flaws, in every inch of that word, externally and internally. That's where it comes from. Instead of being married, it's just about having like that cheerleader, having a support system, having someone to have your back and like be there for you no matter what, no matter how bad it gets, even if you go do a crime, like, just someone to have no matter what. I think that it's hard for people to really really absorb that kind of idea. So yes, I agree, like how it's really impossible to change someone. And if you feel like in your partnership or you feel like you need to change someone, it's never going to happen. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. And my takeaway is at least I know who to talk to when I need to commit a crime. Thank you, Nas.
I got you.
I appreciate that. That means more than you know. Muhammad?
I don't judge.
No, it's cool. It's cool to see because, like, just to kind of go back to the idea of forgiveness is like, let's say, like, I told you, man, hey, Naeem, I'm coming to your wedding, and I'm just like, I can't come to your wedding. And I end up feeling bad, and I create this whole situation of guilt, and it's upon you to be like, oh, well, you didn't come to my wedding. You need to repay me. And then so it's like we end up creating this stress on ourselves that now I feel bad that I didn't come to your wedding and now I end up going out my way to like make sure I do something or be there at your next situation, even if it caused me stress and I can't make that situation. And so it's just interesting to see how like the whole process of the idea that of what we have for forgiveness, how it is. And it's like, imagine if you was like, oh, you didn't come to my wedding. Well, you know what? I'm now, and you hold that over my head, and then you'd be like, well, since you didn't come, I'm not going to answer your phone call. So and that's your way of trying to punish the person to get back at the person. But it's just funny how we play these games. And at the end of the day, it's just like, it is real. Love just recognize that no one did anything wrong at all. So, and we're all innocent.
Thanks for sharing, bro. And also,
by
Thesmond.
The way, I DJ'd at your wedding.
You did, so I would have, not forgiven you.
Now you owe me.
I know I do. I've been trying to repay you, ever since, bro. But, you never let me because you want to hold that over my head. But, it's okay. Well, Thesmond, who was listening in, said that something that hit him was, quote, love does not forgive because love doesn't condemn. And he put a fire emoji. So I just wanted to add that. So Thesmond, aka Cinderella, aka Thes, who's aka the youngest, who's sometimes joining us, he's listening, and also listening is a form of participation as well. So whether you're listening live or listening later, you're still participating, and we appreciate your participation and receiving this message. So this has been another episode of Love 101 Media. This is our Love is Not a Game series. We have joined by Jazz, Geneva, who's probably asleep now, and
I'm still awake.
Oh my goodness.
She's trying.
Yonnie, Muhammad, and I'm Najieb. So until next time, our next chapter is romance. And we will see you next time on Love is Not a Game, Love 101 Media, where we join to open the conversation for love and healthy relationships. Until next time.
Take it over, DJ. Stop the
Put it on, bro.